Hi there, and welcome into this video where I will be speaking to the energies and the unfinished story in regards to the United States election. And I don't usually speak so directly about politics. There is such polarization in energy, so many wounds, and each of us are having our own different experience, our own different story that our life has brought to us. And that's not an easy thing to really see, to weave with and speak to in a way that is accurate for everyone's story. So I understand as well the conflict, the intensity, again, the very deep reactions that this subject brings about in people. So I am definitely putting my own self out there and being vulnerable to speaking of this, but this is a message that has been coming through all day yesterday of November 6th, and I barely slept at all last night. So I'm being guided and nudged to bring this message forward regardless, and I truly hope, my intention is that this brings you some hope and some understanding of why things are happening as they are, and to take, there's the healing view within ourselves, and then there's also the bigger picture view. So that is what I will be speaking to, channeling through to the best of my abilities in this video. And please know it's not going to be all-encompassing. I could not have it be, even as I am trying my best. So welcome in if you are new. My name is Chrissy Whistler. I am an intuitive, an evolutionary astrologer, as well as a healer. I am also the mom of two very unique neurosparkly kids, and right now we are camping near Benson, Arizona on Kratchner Cavern State Park lands. If you are needing some deeper support during this time, please reach out. I offer healing sessions, astrology, birth chart readings, as well as intuitive readings. So if you are really in the thick of it and you need that extra support, please know that I am here. You can find more information at my website, chrissywhistler.com. And I ask as well that if you find this video helpful, to please share it with others like yourself. There is so much fear gripping our planet right now, gripping our hearts and our minds, and every little bit to get these different messages, these different perceptions of reality out there makes all the difference. These small ripples that can then become a wave. So please like this if you find it helpful. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It really helps me so much so I can keep doing and offering this work, and I know that it is landing. I know that it is supporting for you. All right, so this video, these energies. The main message coming through is that this story is unfinished. And I'm going to break that down and go deeper with that. But before I do, the first thing I wanted to say and to speak to is I know there are many out there right now who, for them, this decision, this choice of the American people overall is really putting them, their families, and their loved ones in harm's way. And their world is now not safe. Perhaps because they have special needs. They are neurosparkly. And there was so much, I don't even need to really speak to it, that hate, that otherizing of those who are different, whether that's differences in how our minds work, our bodies, for those as well who associate differently with their gender and their sexuality. They have a different way of being, and for that group as well, people of color, people who've come from other countries than ours, especially Mexico, their stories, your stories, is very, very real and very visceral, and you might very well be in a place of deep trauma and deep survival. So I just wanted to take this moment to recognize you, and I see you, and my heart and my love is with you. And some of this video may not be applying to you right now because you are in a frozen space, a trauma space, because now you're like, am I safe on this world? And if that's where you are, that's absolutely okay. For that, that's where you are. And that's is exactly as it needs to be. So just know I see you. And to speak to as well, if you are needing support right now, to please reach out, not even just to me, maybe therapists, friends who are really good at saying, come over here, sit down next to me, and let me listen. Let me witness you with non-judgment to express what you are feeling and what you are going through. I encourage you, if you are in that trauma space and you have no space for anything that I'm going to be sharing in this video, just go ahead and pause and go take care of you. I also did another video about really how to navigate and surf these times of intense change, so you can see that as well. I don't want to repeat too much of myself here. All right, so this story isn't finished. And I'm speaking to so much. I'm speaking to the astrology. I'm speaking to the energies. I've been in deep communion with the land. The kids and I, we went to Saguaro National Park, and we were hiking amongst all these big, beautiful cacti, and listening. I was listening to the energies, listening to the land, listening to the sun, who has been unleashing non-stop N-class flares since the day of of the election, but really very strongly on the 6th, as the information in the news is coming through, as well as an X-class flare. And as I keep speaking about those, they are coming through with surgical precision, cutting through the bullshit, the masks, the cloaks, hiding us, preventing us from seeing our true selves, our souls. So all this is coming through. So know that this story isn't finished yet. We are still in this crucible, and this is just this first turn of it, this first entry point. And I say this as well, and not from a political stance, blue wave or red wave. My overall message is this wave of love, this wave of consciousness that is sweeping into us at this moment from so many different places. So keep that in mind. I'm not really speaking this side's right, this side's wrong. There are both truths that are correct. And then there are the truths of our own stories, which are true for us. And so there's this dance, this weaving, this paradox is, can you have the tension of both? Can there be truth in both at the same time? So let me go into what I mean by that. The story isn't finished. In some ways, from the higher, bigger picture energy that I am speaking of, not our individual lived story experiences. Okay, so if you can for a moment, ask whatever you might be feeling. Maybe it's celebration and this hope that you have, or maybe it's absolute despair and you're feeling sick to your stomach, like the other people in this country have rejected you, because maybe you are in one of those subgroups who've been recently and vehemently attacked. Okay, can you come with me a little bit higher and see from that bigger picture? From that perspective, it almost didn't matter who won. And what I mean by that is the story isn't finished. On one side, okay, that we are currently going through, Trump won. What is the unfinished story of those who feel hurt and despair and abandoned? And I've been witnessing on my Facebook feed in particular the pain being expressed, the real life experiences, how this result is going to be changing people's lives. So please know I see you. But what is that unfinished story? Well, hey you. There was no true democracy that was allowed the space to be by the people and for the people. I don't go deep into the politics. I really try to focus on my energy, but I'm aware of what's playing out to a certain degree. And the shutting down that happened within the Democratic Party, the DNC, the Democrat National Convention. Sorry, we only know it by DNC. The party, the shutting down of the voices of the actual democratic process, allowing people to come together to debate, to push each other to grow, was shut down, to the point where those who did stand up were attacked, lawsuits filed against them. It was made almost impossible that the people were not able to decide who they wanted their Democratic candidate to be. It was handed down and told to us.
I'm gonna go poop.
Okay. And I just even want to bring that in as well. It's this, I need to go take care of my bodily functions. Let me go do that. Okay, go do that. We were not allowed to take care of ourselves and what we needed to do, our voices to be heard. I know that's a really silly analogy. Take it with you if you want it. It was handed to us. You get Joe Biden. Joe Biden is going to be the Democratic nominee. We picked him. We, these elites, those in charge of the DNC. And it wasn't right what they did to the other candidates. It wasn't right. And so what I'm speaking about here as well, and then of course Joe Biden dropped out, and then it was like, oh, well, now you get Kamala Harris. She's the one who we pick. But the people didn't pick her. And there was no debate to say, Joe Biden, are you up to this job? There should have been a debate. There should have been discourse. Do you want to keep that job? Then earn it. And this is a more recent change in the way we do things. The 1960s, you had JFK debating against Lyndon Johnson, and through that debate changed that course, that perception on the Vietnam War because of that. So who made that change? Who came in to say, oh, you know, we actually don't need to debate anymore. They've got the job because they're the sitting president. Who decided that? And that's what I mean as well about the story isn't finished. I spoke so much about the astrology. We are still in the midst of this crucible. This story isn't done. There is going to be more to come. There is more change. Pluto is not done yet with Capricorn. Pluto will not leave Capricorn until November 19th or 20th, depending on where you live in the world. And Capricorn is this top-down authority and structure. What in that is not working? What in this needs to be dismantled, needs to crumble? That is Pluto's job. It is here to force growth and change, a reactionary chamber. It's like that loaded spring. And I'm speaking, you know, obviously I'm using this one particular example, and I'll speak to the other one in a minute. Okay, clearing that energy. It's there's so much energy, there's so many messages, so I'm doing my best to bring this all through for you. There is more to come. We also have the Pluto opposite to Mars, was the first exact on November 3rd. We're going to have 2 more hits of that Pluto-Mars opposition. Again, this is a push for this change. Where is it that your desires, your life force is taking you? It's going to be playing out in so many ways. This following of our hearts, and at the same, that courage to be yourself, as well as being in groups, and allowing others to stand up and take center stage. So there's this, and Pluto going into Aquarius is the revolutionary. This is cutting through the sword of truth. What is broken? Uranus is here to come to say, I can do it better. This is not working. It is time to change, and we're going to experiment to find that out. So these two energies, Uranus and Pluto, they're not done playing this dance. Mars, I said Uranus, Mars, Pluto. Mars does not leave his retrograde phase until May. So this isn't going away. And there's also larger astrological energies too. I don't want to get into that, but I'm just bringing through the story is not done. What in democracy, our United States Pluto return, who are we as a country, is going through a deep review and reflection. Are we truly who we said we were? And we are having to see that and to face that. And this is part of the process. Are we truly democratic? Is what happened with that side of that story, the blue story, we'll say, is that actually true? Is that, maybe not true, a higher truth, the value or of what we are? Or is there corruption? Is there an undermining that's been happening of the people by those who have more money than the rest of us, which then means more control of the system, the government system? And this I'm speaking of is the Capricorn energy that Pluto is breaking down. So that is that unfinished story that is needing to surface. Now, on the other side, there would be another unfinished story, and it still is unfinished, because honestly, we will see what happens. I don't know if Trump will see to becoming inaugurated. There's going to be Mars-Pluto opposition again right around Inauguration Day. The story isn't done. I don't know where it is going. But this is the change and transformation, because these things in our world, our system, are not working. They must crumble. They must break down. So the other side of the story, of course, if Kamala had won, there would be this anger, this deeper growing resentment of people who feel unseen and unheard in our current government system. And as I'm saying this as well, it's just, I know I'm speaking about the United States, but I have a sense that depending on which country that you're in, you will find deep resonance with these energies. They're just going to be called different names, not Democrats or Republican. You'll have your own different party names or whatever. This is the overall collective energy that we're breaking through right now. So for these people, they haven't been heard. They are having to choose between paying rent or eating meals, rationing insulin. These are stories of working people who are struggling and who are not being seen in the current government system controlled by elites and corporations, the people with power. And so they're like, well, we're going to go with this guy over here because this person is actually speaking to our pain, voicing it, acknowledging it. And as Marianne Williamson is so beautifully saying, is that people will choose false hope rather than no hope. And I'm really trying to be mindful and understanding of my words and the stories of people's lives. And the truth is, there is this very large part of the population who are suffering, who feel left behind and ignored, and they have been. Part of that unfinished story is this side over here who's supposed to be, we're for democracy, we're for the working class people. They've ignored them. And they're not actually addressing that pain. Going back in time for a moment, back to 2016, there were two people who did speak to that pain. One was Donald Trump and the other was Bernie Sanders. And we know that the DNC shut Bernie Sanders' campaign down. It should have gone to him as the nominee, but those in charge, chose Hillary. So this is an unfinished story. It's going back decades. Gosh, even to the very founding of this country, when it was warned against party systems that this can happen. So I hope you see as well it's not just about this here now moment. We are breaking down deep systems, and it is clearly necessary that this is the way we need to go through to break that down. And there can be a real potential for a lot of pain coming forward, a lot of hurt. The time of tribulations really is what we're going through right now. And it is that necessary. I wish it wasn't. I really wish it wasn't. I really wish that these people who were hurting, who were not being seen, were actually acknowledged by the other side, truly. And they're a real rise up to say, we see you and we are going to step up and do the right thing. But they couldn't because of that corporate hold. Insert any words you want. I'm really speaking about the energies. Those in control, those with that power refused. Okay, so we have what's coming through, this revolution of consciousness. It is coming. It cannot be stopped. And a necessary going through this. And and I'm not saying either that Donald Trump does not also correlate to the powerful over here. That is not what I'm saying. He has become that vehicle for this change and this necessary breaking through to happen. And then him, and then whoever comes in, potentially the wings behind him, like Vance, if something does happen to Donald Trump's health. We will have to see how it all plays out. We are all given a choice. Kamala Harris was given a choice. Is she going to step away from the party line and actually speak to her roots, coming from a working class single mother, and connecting at that level to those people who feel that way? And she chose not to. Chose not to rebel, to go against the grain of what she was told, right? And to connect in with that true self. That's my belief, okay? My opinion. Now, let me see what else to come through. I really hope that this is giving you grounding of why this has been taking place. And I've been very quiet about a lot of it, even in my one-to-one relationships. when it was announced that Kamala would take the nomination, I was like, I'm not feeling so good about this. And it was because of that underhanded way that it went about, that circumventing the voice of the people. But I could see that whenever I would bring that forward, mention it, there was panic in the people that I was speaking with. There was panic in their eyes. And I didn't want to re-traumatize, put them back in that place of trauma, so I let it go. I didn't push it. So I hope that this is providing you some understanding from the energy side, from the astrology side, as well as, again, what the land has been bringing through for me. And I'm here in Arizona. I'm just a few miles away from this town of Benson, this very small town, and had a wild first night with a massive, unexpected rainstorm that may or may not have been created by nature. But anyway, I was pushed to go and interact with people, and even went to the laundromat and having this, listening to this one man and how he was being bullied to take off his Trump hat. And he said, I'm allowed to vote for who I want to. I'm like, you absolutely are allowed. You have your own stories. And yeah, okay. Again, this is going to get so long if I let it. I apologize. Okay. I hope that gives you grounding and understanding for what is happening and for the unfinished story that I am tapping into, and there's so much more to come. So many more twists and turns. This is not finished. Now, the other thing I would like to bring through is Donald Trump being elected. Now, at a soul level, he is not someone that I am able to support. The hate, the rhetoric. I can't. I understand what he's doing. I understand that he is speaking to the pain, and I also, I've read his chart. Anyway, and I know one of those women who he did sexually molest, years ago, yet it was done and then laughed about. So this is not someone I could sign my name to. Now, what I want to speak here, though, the hate and the rhetoric that he's really been bringing forward. I have been witnessing on Facebook this litany of, if you voted for this person, you are racist, misogynist, and da-da-da, right? Like, there's this dehumanizing language that has been occurring. And again, I understand the place that's coming from many, that wounded, fearful place, which I'm, again, not discounting. If you have the space in your system, what I'm asking is you to take a pause, to step back and ask yourself, where's any of that in me? And this is where the hope, I hope, is coming in. Obviously, I as a single person, you as a single person can't make these big sweeping changes, right? We're part of a collective, whether we like it or not. But that doesn't mean we are powerless. We actually have a great deal of power. And one of the ways I really suggest is healing within yourself. As you heal and you change your vibration, that will ripple out. This is how that consciousness upgrading is going to be supported. What I mean by this, I'm actually going to give you an example. So there's someone that I know. I saw her post on Facebook that when she's an older woman, and when she was growing up, she's like, I can't believe that the world has gone backwards from when I was a kid. Because Donald Trump was voted in, and he has all that hate and rhetoric that I was speaking towards to definitely marginalized people, women as well. And this is what's curious, and this is what I'm speaking to. I also happen to know that this person is in a relationship with a narcissist. And together, they have sought to ruin the lives of one of their former employees. Oh my goodness. I was witnessing this going on for years, this deep codependency, this using of my friend. And, my friend had to go through it. Again, this is the pressure cooker that it's got to get so tight and so taut that spring at some point is going to explode. My friend needed to go through that. That was the lesson that her soul said, this lifetime, this is what you need. And then it's like, oh, you didn't learn the lesson, dude? You didn't learn the lesson, dude? Okay. And I don't think she'll mind me referencing that. But that is what is happening with us at our collective level. Now, so my friends, we're talking defamation, we're talking using her financial stability to fund their lifestyle, and then when she left her with $90,000 in debt, went around saying she stole the money to her working client base, okay, things that it's illegal to do, but they were doing it anyway. So what I'm trying to say with this is this person who's going and putting this post on Facebook, oh, the world has gone backwards since I was a kid, and yet I'm just like, you need to look in the mirror. You must see yourself. That reflection that you don't like in Donald Trump, where is that in you? And for her, it was really obvious for me what that reflection is, but she couldn't see it, and she still can't. So that is this invitation. Where is the reflection within ourselves? And once we see that, we can be like, okay, well, I don't like that. What can I do? And I'm not immune to this. I am constantly having to check myself, especially about being that over-authoritarian to my children, especially to Kate. Ooh. Especially to her as she's growing into this more independence, preteen years. And Sean helped me just before I left on this trip to check myself. He's like, she's giving you this attitude because you're showing up with this attitude towards her. And I'm just like, no, I'm not. And then I thought about it. And I'm like, oh, I really am. And then I felt a lot of guilt and a lot of shame for not being a better mother, which was also wounds coming through, parts of me that I needed to see and to sit with. So I'm not immune to this either. So that, I hope that is going to bring you some hope. There's more to come. There's so much more to come. I am in a place where I can really dig in and hold into that hope. I am in a safe, grounded enough place where I can do that. So if you can't, just know, you just get through and survive as you need to. And there are others of us who can move into that deeper trauma in that wounds. Eric's back. So just know there's going to be some very deep, hard things coming to that surface. Hey, Betty. Things we do not want to see. That is the necessary Pluto going into the shadows, helping us to see so we can acknowledge it. We can witness it. Then we can heal and move forward. These dreams, these hope, this equality for all, both sides, all people getting what they want, none of that can happen until we see what has been holding that old story in place. So I feel like I've brought through the deep parts that wanted to come through. Please do not lose hope. Now more than ever, this is this time to shine our lights, to show up as we are, but this is also coming from this space of love and compassion. You don't have to agree with the person standing across from you, but can you see them? Can you open your heart? Again, if you are in a resourced place, you're not in trauma or unsafety, okay? Can you open your hearts? Can you be curious to hear their story? Why do they believe what they believe? Why did they vote the way that they voted? What is the pain that they are feeling? What is that unmet need that they are reacting from? Can you see that? Can you see them? This is the real opportunity to heal, is seeing the others as not others, but as humans with different stories and different experiences. Also as well, if you are needing that extra support, I really recommend the grandmothers and the net of light. There's a beautiful meditation that I will link to. Cannot tell you how deeply I felt held by them. Good morning! So I'm going to trust that this is enough. I'm going to trust that this will bring you some hope, the courage to keep going, and the courage to heal. Heal your heart so you can then step forward and follow where your heart is leading you. There is so much more to come. We are being so deeply supported. Even Pluto being in this trine to Uranus, this energy that started in the 1960s, that time of revolution, of love, it's coming in stronger. So even though we cannot see it yet, know that it is there and that each of us carry it within us. Thank you all so much for watching. Again, if you need support, I'm here. Take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.